It's official, and it's happening. This is the rematch of the century, and it's officially happening according to statements from both corners. Since their first seismic showdown, all the way back in 2015, two of the greatest multi-division boxers in history are back at it again in a one last send-off. Both men have reached the end of their careers, with Manny Pacquiao having been a Philippine senator in the middle. Both men have yet to settle a score, however, and it's going down in 2024. Almost 9 years since the last time they battled each other. Let's run down this epic battle for the ages. Pacquiao's wild journey. Emmanuel Dapadran Pacquiao was born on December 17, 1978, in Cabawi, Bukidnon, Philippines. He's the fourth child of Rosalio Pacquiao and Dionisia Dapadran Pacquiao. Life in provincial Philippines during the time was rather harsh and tough, filled with economic hardships. On top of being one among many siblings, Rosalio and Dionisia divorced when he was 6, and ever since, family life never improved for him. Pacquiao completed his elementary education at Saavedra Saway Elementary School in General Santos City. However, he was never able to finish secondary schooling due to a turbulent family life full of abuse and poverty. Pacquiao left his family at the age of 12 and boarded a ship to the capital of Manila with nothing to his name. He spent time living on the streets, and it was a very tough existence. Various stories of him exist during this time. One has him survive by buying donuts from a store with money he managed to barely scrounge up, and then sell them individually for a nickel more. He was effectively homeless at times. He slept in a cardboard box, but he had great determination to become a boxer. Slowly, he managed to scrounge up enough to have some semblance of stability, and he also got a job as a child construction worker. Yes, life was really that tough for him in the Philippines. He started boxing at a local gym while working as a construction worker and enduring hunger just to send money to his mother. He made it into the Philippine National Amateur Boxing Team, where his room and board were paid for by the government. He finished with an amateur record of 60-46, which is all the more impressive when you consider the fact that he amassed all of this within 2 years of being an amateur, starting from the age of 14. By the age of only 16, he became a professional boxer, winning his first fight against Edmund Ignacio in 1995. When he started boxing age 16, he was just 4'11" and weighed 98 pounds. All the odds were stacked against him, yet he soldiered on, determined to give the Filipino pro boxing scene massive shock. He fought as a flyweight during this time, and soon afterwards in 1997, he was picked up by coach Benedicto Delgado. Under his guidance, Pacquiao won his first world title the following year. This was the World Boxing Council flyweight title against Charchai Sakul of Thailand, and his first taste of fame in his native Philippines. After losing his first world title to the Thai Bunsai Sansgarat in 1999, he moved up weight divisions. His fame increased over the years, especially in his native Philippines, where his rise to success from humble beginnings made him a great role model for his followers and supporters. Moving to the United States to compete, his clinching of IBF bantamweight and IBA super featherweight world titles cemented him as a superstar boxer. In 2003, he was voted Philippines Person of the Year. This meant only one thing going forward: the 2000s were his decade. He launched an epic 3-fight rivalry with Eric Morales, coming out the victor. And he also ended 2008 on a very high note by defeating the great Oscar De La Hoya with an 8th-round KO. For his achievements in the decade, he was named Fighter of the Decade for the 2000s by the Boxing Writers Association of America, BWAA, WBC, WBO, and HBO. In February 2007, he decided to do something he didn't have the opportunity to do earlier. He took and passed the high school equivalency exam and was awarded a high school diploma by the Department of Education. Later, he graduated from the University of Makati with a degree in Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. This was something that would prepare him for a short political career. And of course, the precursor to the fight you're all hyped for, Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2015, the battle for greatness. The marketing and the hype reached biblical proportions, with everyone and their mother having gone through the day knowing about it at least once. The fight was expected to be the most lucrative in the history of professional boxing. With an initial estimate of 4.4 million purchases, the PPV alone broke revenue records in the United States with $410 million in revenue, making it the highest grossing PPV in history until then, surpassing PPV for Mayweather versus Alvarez fight in 2013. By September 2015, the figure reached 4.6 million. It was a matchup between an undefeated 5-division world champion, Mayweather Jr., and an 8-division world champion, Pacquiao. The hype paid off for Mayweather fans, as he beat a unanimous decision victory over Pacquiao. From then on, Mayweather went on to solidify his own legend. In July 2019, Pacquiao became the oldest welterweight world champion in history at the age of 40. and the first boxer to become a recognized four-time welterweight champion after defeating Keith Thurman to win the WBA super welterweight title. Professional boxing has slowed down for him since then due to his various business engagements in basketball and local politics. His last fight against Eugenijs Ugas in 2021 resulted in a unanimous decision loss, and needless to say, he's gotten old, and he's reached the end of his career. He doesn't have much to prove anymore, as he's already cemented himself as one of the best boxers to ever live. Pacquiao also holds the record of being the only boxer to hold world titles in 4 different decades, in the 1990s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. A legend now prepares to meet another legend once again. Mayweather cements himself. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was born on February 24, 1977 in Grand Rapids, Michigan into a family of boxers. His father, Mayweather Sr., was a former welterweight contender, and his uncle Roger Mayweather fought as a lightweight and then as a welterweight. Despite this, Mayweather's early life was challenging. His father was in prison due to drug sales, and he had to live with his mother in New Jersey in an apartment shared by 8 occupants. "People don't know the hell I've been through," he said later. About his father, he said, "I don't remember him ever taking me anywhere or doing anything that a father would do with a son, going to the park or the movies or to get ice cream. I always thought that he liked his daughter, Floyd's older sister, better than he liked me because she never got whippings, and I got whippings all the time." His mother was also addicted to drugs. His only saving grace was his grandmother, who was the first to notice that he had the family gift and encouraged him to go to training. Boxing essentially saved his life, as his neighborhood was tough, and he had an aunt who fell to AIDS. Mayweather attended Ottawa Hills High School during this time, but dropped out to focus on boxing full-time. His father and uncle both made it to great distances being professional boxers. If anything, he's the one kid that could confidently drop out of education and focus full-time on boxing. It was the most monumental million-dollar decision of his. Surely enough, Mayweather had an impressive amateur career. He won the National Golden Glove Championships in '93, '94, and '96. His defensive acumen shined through already during this time, and he was known by Pretty Boy by his teammates because he didn't get cut very much. He would also make it to the highest proving grounds for amateur boxers in 1996 when he participated in the Atlanta Olympics and won a bronze medal in the featherweight division. It was a new level of competition for him, and he found himself stumbling at times. Despite the challenges he faced, Mayweather's intent to be the best prevailed through and through. He ended his amateur career with an impressive record of 84 wins and 8 losses. And though he didn't know it back then, he would reach higher heights than his father and uncle. He turned pro on October 11, 1996, scoring a second-round knockout of fellow American Roberto Awadaka. His entry into the professional ring was met with much fanfare from the get-go, as he was seen as a family scion carrying the family's name forward into the next century. Indeed, that's what he did, and he did it in style. He won the WBC junior lightweight title on October 3, 1998, in his 18th bout by stopping Genaro Hernandez in the 8th round. Much like Manny Pacquiao, he was bound to be a multi-division fighter. He moved up in weight 4 times, capturing Ring Magazine and WBC lightweight titles in 2001, the WBC super lightweight title in 2005, and Ring Magazine and WBC welterweight titles in 2006. At the beginning of 2007, he was already widely considered the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, remaining undefeated in 38 professional bouts, with 24 victories coming by way of knockout. Just like Pacquiao would a year later, he defeated fellow American Oscar De La Hoya in 2007 for the WBC super welterweight title. With that win, Mayweather gained mainstream recognition and instant celebrity status. But perhaps what cemented his status as an absolute legend and the greatest pound-for-pound fighter in the last 25 years by ESPN in 2016 were his impressive victories over Canelo Alvarez in 2013 and Manny Pacquiao in 2015. To this day, Mayweather is one of the most lucrative pay-per-view attractions of all time in any sport. He topped the Forbes and Sports Illustrated lists of the 50 highest-paid athletes of 2012 and 2013, and the Forbes list again in both 2014 and 2015. To say the least, he was a bona fide boxing sensation and one of the most widely respected athletes in an era considered to be where boxing was dead. Mayweather finished his professional career in 2017 with a 50-0 record. His last fight was against none other than Conor McGregor, who was making his boxing debut. Since then, he's come back from retirement from time to time for friendly exhibition matches and symbolic fights. The upcoming bout, however, is definitely the most symbolic it can get. Fighters compare. Now, before we get into this section, we must say that since Mayweather and Pacquiao are some of the most well-known boxers, their fighting styles have been poured over with agonizing scrutiny, to PhD levels by many others. Furthermore, Both have reached advanced ages, and because of that, the dynamics leading up to the fight could be drastically different from what has been known about them in so many years. Undoubtedly, Pacman is best known for his animated countenance and a highly energetic style that got Filipinos glued to their screens watching their hero box. His style is characterized by speed, power, and a very high volume of punches. Like Bruce Lee or Donnie Yen in their movies, he's known for throwing over 100 punches around in a 12-round fight. Evidently, when he gets into the ring, he's there to put pressure on you. His combinations are diverse, often coming in 5 to 6 punch combinations that his opponents have difficulty dealing with due to their sheer volume. His strong fists also ensure that the punches really hurt, and this is how he came to be known as a gifted knockout artist. Backing all this up is a deep reservoir of stamina and supreme conditioning. He can also take his fair share of hits and damage, even into his 30s and 40s. For an opponent of a similar age as himself, it's not going to be a cakewalk. On the other hand, Mayweather's style is all about defense and not getting hit to waste the opponent's stamina and mental balance as much as possible. He's known for his defensive skill and grace of offense, with careful positioning and targeting to make the most out of his chances. From his amateur pretty boy era all the way up to retirement, he has rarely gotten injured from a match. His father and uncle both fought similarly, but he took this style to an absolute height. Getting to his level requires an immensely high level of dedication and refinement of techniques. If it were easy, everyone would have achieved it. But clearly he stands apart, and he stands unique. Rounding out his defense are his exceptional counter-punching skills. Mayweather is quite fond of his use of the check hook, which is thrown as a single lead hook when an opponent is coming forward with the combination. He also uses the pull counter, a technique to hit his opponents cleanly with his powerful right hand. All of this encapsulates what is known as the Philly shell defense, a strategic approach that is celebrated for equipping boxers with the ability to play it as technically as possible, while at the same time impressing the crowd with his artful moves. You can argue that Mayweather's style is the clearly superior style, as it's netted him an amazing 15-0 professional record, and it crushed Canelo Alvarez, who was also known as a master of defense. Indeed, it's one of a kind. But the emotions going into this fight may not necessarily be of a fight to the end. Legend recognizes legend, and with two legends going at it one final time before saying goodbye to the sport that made them who they are, it's going to be one hell of a fight. So who's going to settle the score for an eternity between the two? Will the senator carve his name in stone? Or will Mayweather take the elevator into immortality? Leave us a like and subscribe if you agree with our assessment of this showdown. We'll see you again when the dust settles on the canvas.